people being gracious or not with how they respond to newcomer questions, right? In the sense, and this is the downside of not physical communication, right? So if somebody is ungracious in their response and are harsh, it's often because they're busy, they're doing other things, and this random person that they don't know and they don't see and they know nothing of other than this email has come in, and it's, again, not worthy of their time for whatever reason. And so they are less than gracious. Whereas if they spin that around to their own experience with needing to ask a question and not knowing how to phrase the question, or if it's the right question, or all of these things, they've all felt that same way going to some other community. So it's really, it's almost like the golden rule, and trying to remind people that, you know, the people on the other side of that black box you're typing into is actually a person. Right. And they're not so dissimilar from you, because I think that's the disassociation. And I find the same thing with what we're talking about here with regard to how to keep people on the mailing list, because, you know, certainly all of those people on that mailing list aren't interested in my topic. So I'll just contact the one person that I know I want a response from, and I won't bother the other people, right? It's very often the sentiment. And that's, again, as you say, it's a lack of knowing that, yes, let the other person, let all of those other people decide for themselves if it's worthy or not, and they just won't keep reading, and it's really no harm, right? And so that relationship can be formed. But it is, I really do think, you know, it's easier when you're standing around a group of 10 people having a conversation to chime in with something, because you know the context, you know who's there and who's listening. When you don't have that, it's harder, right? And when people aren't doing that,
it's, you know, I completely agree. And also, one of the things that kind of, I think, is important for any open source software project is to have basically rules of engagement. I guess I describe it. It's like, you know, what are the community rules around conversation? And so, you know, we've had for a long time, we made these rules about, you know, how do you communicate in the mailing list? And it's always been these three same rules, right? I mean, we don't allow hate speech. We don't allow bullying, right? So if you're gonna don't swear, we don't want this to become, we always say, we don't want this to become what Usenet became. You know, we don't want people to be spamming the list as well, right? You need to keep things on topic. There's also an additional problem I occasionally see once in a while, where people will, they don't recognize that they're doing this, but it's topic hijacking, where they'll ask an unrelated question in response to someone else's topic. It's like, that's off topic to this conversation. Start another thread. But you know, it's like, so that's rule number 2. And then the third one is like, be kind, be courteous, right? So no flame wars. And if you really strongly disagree with what somebody said, take that off list. We don't want to see that on the mailing list. And I feel fortunate that our group has only had to like kick off from the mailing list only like a couple of people in the 30 years. I mean, it's been probably, I could count on one hand the number of people that we've had to kick off the list.
But it was unpleasant and memorable, wasn't it?
It was, yes. And you know, you get somebody who comes on and they really get angry about something, and then they'll use abusive language, and it's like, well, you're gone. I mean, it's like you try to warn them, but it's like, then that's one of the rare times that having an off-list conversation is appropriate. You say, hey, you are being bad, right? To have the conversation, mention that first on the list so people see it, but then you need to have a conversation afterwards saying, this behavior needs to stop, and if you don't stop, I'm going to kick you off the list. And then if they keep doing it, you got to kick them off. And we've done that a couple of times, and it's not cool to have people who are being abusive. So we have that same set of rules, by the way, on our Facebook group. And so if you want to talk about FreeDOS there, then those same rules apply. So yeah, that's definitely an important part as well.